Hey folks, Mel the Train Tutor back in the studio and back with the Burma build. Yes, we're carrying on with our Japanese defense subset, and in this video we're making hidden bunkers. Yes, there was a big debate on the channel about doing bunkers and that sort of stuff and whether to make them functional or whether to make them realistic, because the Japanese, they sort of hid their bunkers low levels, not big, well, they did have big concrete pillar boxes, but they actually had small hidden ones. Here, let me show you. So I'm using this as my reference book for this. Yeah, part of the Osprey series. Excellent book written by Gordon Rotman. Yeah, now, I don't want to show it you all, obviously. Yeah, because, you know, I don't want to give his work away. You should buy his book. If you're looking for books to buy, I can recommend one. That was a bit sly, wasn't it? Anyway, yeah, if I bring it up, you can see there's a diagram of the Japanese defences there. And you can see how basically, yeah, one-man HMG pit, yeah, or an LMG pit, but it's done with logs and then ground buried over the top. And there's a few more photos and that sort of stuff, but there's loads of reference materials online. So my plan is basically take one of these, or the style of this, and turn it into a bunker. So if you come down, yeah, you'll notice I've got a load of little circles. We're doing 4. I've drawn the circles roughly the same size of these. Now the reason for that is this is sort of a standard size of small scatter for my Burma build. I can put this on the table as normal terrain with a hidden marker underneath to say it's a hidden bunker, and then when the time comes, it can be swapped out with one of these quite easily without it affecting things being moved, if you know what I mean. It also means that from an opponent's point of view, looking at the terrain, you look at it like, well, that small clump could be, that small clump could be. Just makes it a little bit more interesting. But how are we going to do this? Well, basically, the only real difference between this and a log bunker is the entrance, the actual fire slit. Okay, because the rest was hidden and buried. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the fire slit out of twigs. Yeah, you can use barbecue skewers, dowel, whatever you want. And then, once we've got that, we're going to basically build a mound over it and then flock and dress it up. So hopefully giving us the impression of a hidden log fire slit in a mound of jungle. So that's what we're aiming for. So if you come on down, you can already see that I've already started and I've been cutting and that sort of stuff. I've also got my hot glue gun. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put, 4 logs there. Now this is going to be a bit messy. I don't mind it being a bit messy. That's hot glue. Yeah, and so 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Let's go for the 4th. So there, ow, told you it was hot. Next off, we need to do the actual fire slit. Now the idea with this is, I need to cut these down a bit, but I want to do them at roughly 45 degrees, at 90 degrees. Now the reason for this is quite simple. It's a fire arc. In bolt action, yeah, when you're firing out of fire slits, you've got basically a 90-degree fire arc. Now with it being a jungle piece and with normal bunkers, you have a square lid, so it's quite easy to define where the fire arc is. In the case of jungle pieces, we don't have a square lid. So I want to put something in that helps define it, and to do this, it's easier just to set the fire slit logs at 90 degrees, and then if you can see the actual fire hole, then you're in the arc. That's the theory anyway. So we need to cut these down a bit. So about there. And I'm just using a pair of hobby clippers for this. Yeah, and same with that one. Well, that's crushed it. Let's grab another one. That's good. That'll do. That's the problem with using twigs. They tend to break up occasionally. So we've got our 2 twigs. Yeah, one's a bit longer than the other, but that's okay. We want about a 90 degree. So there we go. So without it breaking, because that looks like it's broken, we go for it. In fact, let me try cut it with a blade. Clippers are okay for big pieces, but when it gets small, they tend to crush with the blade of the clippers. So a blade is better. Just takes more work. I could use a saw, but I'll use clippers for the long bits. and I'll use what you call it, my blade for the small bits. So with this one, what we're going to do is hold it there at 90 degrees, put a bit of hot glue on there. Yeah, now I'm not worried about the mess on the outside because no one's going to see that. Because it's going to be buried in filler and stuff like that. Yeah, and then this one needs to go there, that angle. So, like that. I've got to get this right. Yeah, forward a bit. He says. Right. That's almost 90 degrees. Now that's roughly placed right. I'll just throw, oh, it's caught on my camera. I'll just throw a bit more hot glue down the sides. Yeah, just to help firm that off. Same on this side. Yeah. Now the next thing that we need to do is put the roof on. Yeah, now for the roof, dead simple, we're going to go for logs again. Yeah. So, very quickly, we need 1, 2, I need a few more. 3, shall we say? Maybe 4. Long a bit, thick a bit, tough a bit. Like that. That'll do. So, very quickly, that does not look like 90 degrees, but I'm going with it. Yeah, put hot glue on the top of there. Hot glue on the top of there. And I should say, I've never actually done this before, so I'm learning as I go on this one. Drop that one on there. Drop that one on there. Right. It's a bit hot gluey, but if I bring it together, you can see we've got a fire slit. Yeah, it's actually quite good. Yeah, I think once it's flocked up and that sort of stuff, it'll look quite good. Yeah, it's easy to see where the, what you call it, where the actual fire arc is, and that's an easy 90 degrees. So I quite like that. So my next job is I need to replicate all of that, yeah, with these, and then we'll start building up the rest of the bunker. Right, cracking on time. So I've got all the logs done, and there they are. And they've come out all right, to be perfectly honest. A little fiddling around with the first one, and the rest of them have come out really nice. So I'm quite pleased with how they've turned out. They've got a really nice low profile. Now, moving on. Yeah, we've got the, what you call it, the actual mounds that I'm burying them in. Now, I mean, all I'm doing is using a little bit of HD foam offcuts for this. And what I've done is sort of reverse engineering. It's a lot easier if you have a template, planning and preparation and stuff like that, you know. But it's me. Yeah, so we've just been winging it. And what I've been doing is basically making this shape. Yeah, that will slide into there. Yeah, and then another little 5mm piece that can go on the top and go there. And now, this is actually a little matter of, a little bit of reverse engineering, to be perfectly honest. See, I'm messing it, I'm breaking it already. I haven't even put it together. Come on, Boasticle, stop fiddling. Right, so, let me show you how I'm doing this. Right, take one single piece, get a little bit of scrap foam. Now, you can use all sorts of foam. You can easily use filler. You can use a bulking glue with this as well if you don't want to do this. This is just easier for me. The reason I'm using foam for this is that I could use a bulking filler just like I did with the log barricades. But because of the bulk of it, it's going to take a while to dry. Yeah. If I use foam, I reduce the amount of filler and stuff that I put on it. It'll dry a lot quicker. Secondly, when I'm putting plastic plants and jungle stuff and trees in if I want to, yeah, having foam means I can just insert into it, yeah, rather than if it's filler, you know, you have to drill a hole and stuff like that. It's just a little bit easier. Right, so basically what I'm doing is quickly drawing round the rough edge of this. Yeah, like that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it out, but I'm going to cut into it by about 1 centimetre. Yeah, I'll have to cut into that a bit more. Around here. And just like this. Watching your fingers, obviously. Yeah, take that out. And then if we bring this here, it should roughly fit. There we go. Now, once you've got a rough idea of where it fits, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go take that off. Yeah. That'll give me an idea where the front is. Yeah, and then very quickly put that there. Yeah. A couple of lines either side. Yeah, make it a little bit deeper. Yeah, snap that. Bring it in. And I am rushing now. I was a little bit more careful with the other ones. Yeah, but clearly I'm rushing a little bit because I'm on camera and I don't want to waste too much time. I've got that the wrong way around. Not sure. Which way does it go best? Right, that way, other way. Yeah, so get that to roughly there. Yeah, let's cut some more of this bulk back. So with that in place. Remember, you don't have to get it right up to the lip or perfect because we're going to be blending it in with filler anyway, so I'm not stressed. You shouldn't get stressed over terrain. It's our happy stuff. Right, so cut it into that. Yeah, that's roughly right. Take that nibble. Next thing, yeah, come around to the edge of the table, watching your fingers, give it a bit of a bevel. It's easier to do this before you put the foam on. Just be very careful with your fingers. Nip that, and then just round that, take that down a bit, take that down a bit. I'm just adding the bit of a bevel onto it. Yeah. So when we bring it into here, slides nicely onto there. Next thing, PVA. PVA will stick this down quite happily. Yeah, push that onto that. Yeah, and then the next thing is I'm looking for a little bit 5mm. Here we go. Up there. Come in. Watching my fingers once again. It's going to wiggle all over the place, so I'll do this off here so I don't knock those wooden bits. Yeah, obviously it's 5mm, so take it a lot easier. Yeah, really watch your fingers. Whenever I'm doing 5mm, I always try and cut well away from my fingers because I've slipped before. And when you're doing creative stuff, you tend to get carried away and flipping, oh, a little bit here, a little bit here, and you can get sort of a little bit too carried away. Yeah, so I see, put that on there. Perfect. Throw some PVA on there. Throw that onto there. And then very quickly, I should do this when it's dried. Yeah, but you know me. Yeah, let's just get rid of those harsh edges so it's easy to blend. Yeah, same on this side, that's a bit of a wedge. Don't break it, boss. There. So that's just basically rough carving. Yeah, that's when you don't have a plan and you just chip away and get a rough idea. So that one's done. That one's done. I've got to glue that one and I've got to make that one. And once they're done, the basic bunker shape is done. And we'll come back and then next thing we'll do is we'll be adding filler in just to blend all this, getting ready to take it to the next stage. So I'm going to crack on with these. I'll see you in a flash, guys. So our PVA is dried and we're ready to start smoothing things off. And for that, I'm using my standard dial filler. Yeah, bog standard filler. I'm just going to get a bit of a finger. Yeah, we're going to get wet and messy with this, so you know I'm going to enjoy it. And all I'm doing is just smearing it on. And all I'm doing is just basically blending any join lines. It doesn't have to be perfect because all of this is going to be under flock and jungle and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but basically what I'm doing is just trying to get things blended in. Yeah, so I want to blend that front log in. Yeah. around here, big dollop. Yeah, smooth it into this edge, smooth it into that edge, all the way round. Yeah, onto there. I know it looks a mess. Yeah, we haven't added the water yet. Well, a little bit of water, smooth it off, and it'll start to take shape. Now I've got a gap there I want to fill. I don't have to fill the gaps perfectly because we're putting a load of clump and stuff over it. Yeah, so I just want enough that I haven't got a gap. Yeah, over here, that's all right. Yeah, and then what I want to do is a little bit on top of the logs. Yeah, just to fill that in like that. A little bit of water, smooth it all off. Yeah, and then finally, yeah, stiff brush, stiff old brush or a plastic, like this is a kiddie's brush. You know, I have a kiddie's play set, so it's quite savage. Yeah, just come in, clean your logs up. So all you're doing is just taking the excess off any logs and just smoothing anything out. And then with a finger, just smooth out any last bits. And there you go. And that's what we've done to take it from that, yeah, to that. And then you can see exactly where I'm going with this now. So my next job is I'm going to crack on with these, get all these done, then just leave them overnight to dry. Then we can start herbing them up and getting them looking a bit more jungly. So they're all done. Yeah, they're dried, they're looking lovely. They are lovely and low profile. The log entrances have turned out great. And the next stage with these is we've just got to get them browned up. Really, I need to get the clump foliage and all that sort of stuff to make them start really looking like sort of hidden and that sort of stuff now. But before we can do that, we've got to do the earth tones. Now, to do the earth tones, all I'm going to do is standard Burma build, put my brown on. I'll use this dark brown for the woodwork so it's in line with the rest of the build. And then it's just a matter of PVAing down my mixed herbs, yeah, and then just staining them with a wash of my Burma brown. So that's the battle plan. You've seen me do this plenty of times, so I'll just share some photos as we go, yeah, and then I'll come back when it's ready to actually get the foliage on. Cracking on time. So I'm in full swing with grassing everything up and getting my jungle bunkers looking great. Come on down. Yeah, now as you can see, yeah, with the herbs and everything and painted up, they've turned out great. But we need to make them look a bit jungly, yeah, and disguise them in jungle. Now, this is the standard look for the Burma build, yeah, and this is what I'm trying to replicate a bit, okay? And what I'm thinking is basically because these clumps will be on the table as normal terrain, and then we'll be able to swap them out for these. And I'm just working it through. Now, the one thing I want to show you is basic clumping, okay? Because all the grass and that sort of stuff we've done before. Now, I've been working on this one, and you can see I've already got this sort of height to it, yeah, and this sort of like explosion of jungle clump that once we've added a few more bits, yeah, will look great. Now, the way I'm doing this is because I made these out of foam, yeah, I can just simply, quite easily, push a hole in them. Yeah, a little bit of hot glue. And then get something like a tree. Yeah, let's use this one. And just push it in the hole. Yeah, then after that's in, yeah, all I need to do is build it up around it, which means using my standard plastic Burma build clumps that you've seen before. Yeah, and just adding these on. So we'll throw it there. Throw a bit of hot glue there. Hang a bit so I don't get too many wisps. Yeah. Place that on and just leave it there. And that's all it is to doing building up the clumps. Yeah, a little bit of hot glue, fix them on, and just build them up and get them the bulk of it just round where I haven't fixed the herbs, so I get a nice good bond, yeah, and get my clump there. Once that's in, it's just a simple matter of Yeah, adding my turf mix, adding clump foliage, lichen, all that sort of stuff, and bringing it together. Now, you've seen me do that plenty of times, so I'm going to skip through this bit in pictures, and we'll bring it back when it's done. Well, it's all done and they've turned out great. Now, here they are, and they are looking beautiful. They've still got a little bit of work to do with them. I've got a little bit of touching up, but mainly, yeah, with regards to the clump and the foliage around these areas. Now, this is pretty solid, but when I put these down, it was all sort of loose and then needed to be sealed. And so things move around a little. And so in some cases, I've got some really nice sort of dense hidden ones, yeah, and in some cases the clump has moved a little and it's a little bit more stark. So the battle plan is dead simple. Now this is actually set and it's hard, yeah, I can come in and I can add a couple of little extra bits of clump, a bit of lichen, and just touch it up and then blend it in with my Burma brown and just finally finish it off. But that's pretty simple for me, that's pretty common for me, because I always like to leave my Burma build sort of 90% and then finish the 10% off a little bit later, just when I've had a time to properly look at the pieces and see, you know, what I need to touch up. Yeah, final touches, as they say. And sometimes it's better to step back from a project before you do your final touches. But even so, yeah, these are good enough to go down on the table right now, to be perfectly honest. I'm just really, really picky. Yeah, which is why I think people like the Burma build. Yeah, because I do love the details on it. So we've got our 4 hidden bunkers. Now, one thing I did think afterwards is, indicating. And when I say indicating, what I mean is, yeah, letting the other player, the defensive player, know that, that piece is a bunker. Now, I could just be horrible and say, right, well, if you're going to use them against me, you better guess where they are. Yeah, but what I'm thinking is maybe a little sign there, or as we do have some space behind these, we could do a little hatch or something. Not quite sure. Like I say, it's an afterthought, but you can always add on to terrain. So that's what we're going to be doing. So these have turned out great. Hope you've enjoyed the video, guys, and enjoyed the simple techniques on putting those little twigs together and then embedding them and creating our jungle on top. It's worked out really well. I'm really pleased with them. Can't wait to see them on a full table, you know what I mean? Now, as always, if you've liked this video, like it. If you've got any questions or anything down, get in the comments. Now, above all, yeah, if you've liked seeing me back on your screen and coming back with these videos, then, you know, please consider supporting me. The links are on screen and they are down below, yeah. If you really like what I do, you can jump on Patreon, pledge $1, just $1. Yeah, back one video for $1 a month. Yeah, and then you're just helping me keep the lights on, the cameras rolling, and producing this content for you. If you're not into the monthly thing, then you can send a one-off by PayPal, or you can jump on the Amazon wish list and get me something I need to keep these sort of videos coming. However you support me, I genuinely do appreciate it, folks. Now, I'll be back on Thursday with another behind the scenery video, and next week's video, we're going in depth with some trench lines, so keep your eyes out for that. It's going to be good. All the best, yeah? Ta-da!